Alright you guys, today we're going to be comparing the old NES system to the new NES Classic Edition. Hang out! Alright, so not only do I have the fake NES Classic Edition, the real NES Classic Edition, but I also have the actual NES system from back in the day. And I figured I wanted to compare them just to see how much they actually tried to get the system to look just like the old one. Alright, let's check it out. Alright, you can see here on the bottom we have the original NES console itself, and then on the top of it you can see the size comparison of how much smaller the new NES Classic Edition actually is. And right off the bat we notice some differences. The first thing we notice just by looking at it is the color difference between the labels. There is just a slightly different color between the original Nintendo and the new Classic Edition. The new Classic Edition is just a slighter red color. And then if we look off to the side just a little bit, you can see the controller ports are quite different as well. Still numbered the same. One is on the left and number 2 is on the right. And you can also see that the power and the reset buttons are also labeled the same as well. Now, one more difference that may not be as noticeable is the little door that opens up on the old system. On the old system, that opened up freely so you could fit the cartridges inside. The new Nintendo Classic Edition does not open. They did make it seem like that there was a door there just to match, but it doesn't actually open. Okay, now let's turn it off to its side. Check out these vents. Let's call them vents. It does look like they tried to match up the vents as much as possible. However, it does look like there's a lower amount of slots than there is on the actual one. So instead of reducing the side of the vents, they just added fewer vents. They did, however, keep the line in between the black plastics. Okay, on the side here you can see that there is no video ports on the side of the Nintendo Classic, the NES Classic Edition. However, the original Nintendo has the audio and video outputs. You can also see there's a slot missing here in the bottom. On the Nintendo Classic Edition, they did not include that. And we'll check out the bottom a little bit later to see what that actually was. Alright, now if we look at the back of the system, you can see on the new NES Classic Edition, they have upgraded the audio and video to HDMI outputs. And that is the only audio video output on this system at all. But they did do a what is that called? A micro USB power slot for your power input on the Nintendo Classic Edition, which that means that this system is running off of 5 volts. On the older system, however, you can see that the AC adapter is right there off to the left, and it's one of your original DC adapters that has the round slot in it. Right next to it in the middle is your channel 3, channel 4 switch, and that goes right to the RF switch. The RF switch, for those of you that don't know or don't remember, is the cable that connects right to the antenna port on your TV. Usually when you use that with these old systems, you had to put your TV on channel 3 or channel 4 for them to work. Alright, let's turn this around to the other side, see if there's any differences over here. And as far as I can tell, there isn't any major differences other than the little slot down in the bottom. As you can see, the new Classic Edition does not have that. All right, I went ahead and flipped these guys over, and you can see there is quite a few differences going on the bottom now. I would say this is the biggest difference in the whole system. If you look, the original NES has this clip that comes off. If you guys know what that clip is for, please let me know. I have no idea what that was for. You can see we have rubber pads for feet on the original NES. The original black plastic in the front here had 2 screws on it, whereas the new one only has 1. And the original NES had some stickers on the bottom with the label information, whereas the new Classic Edition has it engraved into the plastic or molded into the plastic. There is 1 number on the bottom of the system. I'm assuming that's what that number is on the Classic Edition as well. All right. And you can see that whatever this plastic is for has slots for whatever comes out of it. I don't know if that's supposed to be like cable slots or whatever it is, but the new Nintendo Classic Edition does not have that. All right. All right, the last thing I really wanted to compare was the controllers, and I wanted to see how close they actually tried to make the controllers match. And it looks to me they did a fairly good job. Just off the bat, the first thing I notice is the controller port doesn't match. That's basically the only thing I recognize right off the start. Now let's take a closer look. All right. It looks to me like in size comparison, they are exactly the same size. So I know the old controller is a little bit faded and darker color gray, but that may be just because it's discoloring. The plastic may be just discoloring. The reddish color on the Nintendo on the controllers actually seems to be pretty close. Yeah, that's fairly close. All the lines for the gray in the middle seem to match up. You can see they seem to be similar in size. This bottom one may be just a little bit fatter gray line than this one right here. Let's turn them over. Actually, the buttons pads feel pretty much the same. Okay, I wouldn't be able to notice any difference in the feel of the button pads. Let's turn them over and see what the backs look like. All right, now we've got some differences going on. First of all, yes, they both have the 6 screws. Okay, and then they both have this little notch at the top there. Okay, but if you look down at the bottom, the new NES Classic Edition controller, we've got an extra little box here off to the side. Okay. On the other side, we have the Nintendo branding, which is quite a little bit different. It says the same thing, but the branding looks just a little bit different, as well as the model different, obviously, is a little bit different. The top one was made in Japan, and the bottom one was made in China. Not that the classic ones weren't made in China. I almost bet probably some of them were. Maybe not. I'm not really sure about that. If you know, let me know in the comments. But yeah, let's see if the top looks any different where the wires go in. All right, so a little bit different of a clamping method going on here. The old controller just seems to close around the wire, and the new one, well, it's a similar shape, has just a little bit different of a clamping mechanism going on there. Pretty cool. All right. All right, you guys, and that is going to be the end of my comparison between the two systems, the original NES and the NES Classic Edition. I would say all in all that they actually tried to match the system pretty well. Even though they shrunk it down to a lot smaller of a size, they tried to get a lot of those details in that really gives you the feel of having the original system. and I think they did a pretty good job. Anyway, if you like this video, please hit that like button. If you want to see more videos like it, please subscribe to my channel. And if you know anybody who enjoys this kind of stuff, who likes watching this kind of stuff, please share my videos with them. It really helps my channel grow. Anyway, we'll see you guys next time.